I don't know why, but I don't know why, but it seems like a lot of my shows revolve around music. I have an external speaker that I had on, so you know. I don't know why that, well, yes, I do know why that is. I love being a musician. My only regret is that I didn't decide to pick it up much, much earlier. What I want to hear from my guests tonight is what instruments they play, what instruments they might regret never picking up. Stay with us. It's not often that you get the host to dive out of frame as soon as they're doing their open. So mark your calendars on that one. Tonight. Oh, by the way, welcome to the Video Callin Show, that show that invites you to be a live video guest on this program. Yes, that's right, you. To talk about whatever you want to talk about. Could be the topic of the day. We all know what that topic is tonight. And it could be current events. It could be a personal promotion. It doesn't matter. I just want to have you on. I want to chat with you. Now, joining is real easy. All you've got to do is point that browser to zoom.us. Right there it is. Click on join a meeting. And then, of course, enter in that meeting number when it asks for it. You will show up in my green room, and I will bring you up one at a time. First come, first serve, as time allows, and that time is an hour. I try to limit this show to about an hour a night. That way I don't wear out you or me. By the way, my name is Jim. I am your host of the Video Callin Show. Welcome, 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 everyone. If this show sounds like something you'd be interested in, trips your trigger, puts the bounce in your step, why, make sure that you follow. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you ring that bell so you don't miss another episode. I'm on every Sunday through Thursday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tonight is no different. How is everybody? Let's say hello to whom we have in the chat. This will probably wig us out for a minute. Oh, where'd it go? Oh, awesome. Okay, so if you're watching on another platform, I won't be able to address your chats tonight. It seems that my chat compiler has died, so I'm just going to forego it for now. I almost didn't go at all because for some reason Restream is acting kind of funky. So if this stream goes funky, we'll know why, but at least you'll know why. At any rate, yes, I see you, Patty. I already have 3 guests. This is a very popular subject. As you know, I have many musicians that come to my live streams. And that, to me, is fantastic because, like mine, you know how that is. But you don't have to be a musician to talk about those things that you wish you would have been able to play or sing. You know, the vocal cords, that is an instrument unto itself. So, but let's say hello. Oh, by the way, tonight's subject was brought to us by Outdoorsy Gal O. That is Chrissy at Outdoorsy Gal O. She metal detects. She fishes. She cans apparently, and she also forages. She knows a lot about foraging for wild fruits and vegetables. That is Outdoorsy Gal O. Chrissy, thank you so much for suggesting all of these wonderful subjects. I so appreciate it. You don't know how much I appreciate it. And folks, if you'd like to write me, why do I feel like it's still on? And let me know what kind of topics you'd like me to cover. By all means, there's a link in the description box. And of course, my email address is right there. So feel free to drop me a note. It could be anything. Now, mind you, I may not pick up all of them because I've got to have something to say. Like, if we're going to talk about, I don't know, give me a subject. High heel pumps. I don't have I don't have a dog in that hunt, and I don't know what I would talk about. But hey, I'll consider it. So do that if you can. What do you guys think of the farmer look tonight? Yep, it's probably the first time you guys have seen me with a button-up shirt, and get used to it, because I miss wearing these sort of shirts. They're unbelievably comfortable. The fleeces that I normally wear, I'm pointing over there because I have one draped over my drums, which I should probably go through a few pictures. You guys want to see some pictures? Let me know in the chat before I bring up my first guest. I do have some band pictures, for lack of a better term, but they kind of highlight my time with music. I'll throw up one real fast here, which is arguably one of the most iconic, because I used it for this particular band's marketing efforts. But there you go. That was the first band I was in that I played out live with, and yes, that's me in the background on an old Ludwig set that I had, and I covered those with aluminum sheeting because they were pretty hideous when I picked them up. But I got to tell you, we had the light show. There's no question about that. We had the light show. Oh, let's see. Do you guys really want to see anything else? Oh, you know what? No one has. I like going to concerts with my wife too. Some of you may even recognize that hat. I've actually worn that on the show before. All right, enough of that tomfoolery. Let's say hello to those folks who have been kind enough to show up and watch this on YouTube. Sean McKenna, how you doing? Good to see you. Drum Kings in Darwin says, is this the show that Jim finally plays the drums? And that's actually been asked several times in the chat since I started live tonight. No, I'm not going to play them tonight. What I will do, one of these days, very, very soon, I will probably record myself playing them and then play a clip for you guys to see. I just don't know how to go about that. I mean, I'm not much of a freeformer, honestly. I'm so much better when I'm playing with music, with accompaniment. So accompaniment, that doesn't come off the tongue very easily. so stay tuned for that, but not tonight. Patty Broussard, how you doing? Good to see you. Loves this topic. Yes, I'm glad to see you in there, Patty. I will get to guests here in just a few seconds here. Studio Geek 32, how you doing, Sammy? Good to see you. And as well as Easton Music Ministry, always a pleasure to have you in. Above and Beyond Drones, and of course there's another one. Willie, won't he play the drums? No, I'm not gonna play the drums, Jim. Ronnie G, positive vibes, how you doing? Are you hearing right? No, I'm not. I didn't even see you, Ronnie, say that. But no, I'm not. One of these days you guys will hear me play the drums, I promise you that. Germany Travel Personal Guide, Darren, how you doing? Good to see you, my friend. Susan Hamilton, always a pleasure to have you in here. That sounded like a Matt Christensen. Always appreciate that discussion down below, and especially over on Twitter. Crap, my dad makes me watch. How you doing, Patty? Adam, always good to see you. And there's Chrissy. I'm glad you made it, Chrissy. I hope you saw that I gave credit where credit is due. Thanks again for suggesting all these topics. I so appreciate it. Viewed this. How you doing? Oh, pissed off because I'm not going to play. Well, that's okay. I'm sorry, Tony, but believe me, it will happen. Who else do we have in here? We've got Luke Duke. How you doing, Luke? Good. Excuse me. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Let's see. Mr. Lodak, how are you? Welcome to the show. And there's Grumpy Vlogger. How you doing, Lloyd? Good to see you, my brother. And let's see. All right. So, did you guys want to see any more pictures? When will I play the drums? Sammy asks. Well, Sammy, you can ask me that when you come up because you are in the queue. I know I wanted to show you just a couple more pictures. Oh, well, I'll get to that in a moment. I think I've already shown you this one. This is the cocktail kit that I made of my full acrylic kit. And take a gander at that for a minute. You'll never guess what I used to tie in those two 18s. They're the drums on the right are that's an 18-inch floor tom and an 18-inch tom up top. You'll never guess what those clamps are, or maybe you will. Who knows? We'll find out. Tell me in the chat if you recognize those at all. Let's see. Oh, here's me playing with let me see, that Irish rock band I've told you about before. This is some Irish pub up north, Indianapolis. And that's me in the background, on the cocktail kit, no less. On the cocktail kit. Let's see real fast here. I know there's a couple more that I wanted to show you that you probably haven't seen. You remember I was talking about that light show. I mean, I'm a light nut, and you can tell because not only are there a ton of lights that I bring around us, a lot of them movable, but there's also my drum kit lights up as well. Let me remove the lower third here, and you can see. Now, that was back in what? Was that 2010? Yeah, that was back in 2010. So we're going back a little ways. Let's see real fast here. I know there was a couple more. Let me get that off the screen. There's a couple more I wanted to, or maybe one or two more I wanted to show you real fast. Was this one of them? That was another Irish band. Yeah, this one we had the full complement. We actually had an accordion player, a fiddle player, a singer who we had to hide the tambourine from, and guitar players, of course, and then of course me. And right now I've got my drums lit up in all white. Loads of fun. I tell you, there is nothing like playing to a large crowd of people, and nothing worse than playing to tabletops. And I've said that before. Here's a little bit of a peek of the full acrylic kit. Let me get that out of frame again for you. You can see that I'm even using an acrylic snare that I built out of a 14-inch, an actual Ludwig Vistalite tom that was cracked up top. I cut it in half. I put new bearing edges on it. I re-drilled the lug holes, and then of course sanded down the snare beds and made a snare out. I sold that to some guy in I want to say Spain. Was that one on? Because I sent one to Spain, one to Australia, Brad, and each one of them garnered about $300. It was really wonderful. It was kind of an eBay thing. Oh, and here's what I do. Here's a couple things that I do when special occasions come about. You can see we dig the Halloween thing over here. This was this was an abridged for. Oh, this was 80% 80s, and of course I'm a demon, which is how I should have done my makeup for this Halloween, but I screwed it up. And of course, you'd never know it, but Gene Simmons is much shorter and much bloodier than we ever thought. So, and of course, I've had to stand in a time or two for the Blue Man. It's just what I do. And no, that is not a bald cap. That is actually me. Yes, I went bald there for a while. Totally shaved. Oh, screw it. I had a buddy that said, once I started shaving, man, I never went back. So I tried it and I went back because it's just not me. All right, like I said, enough of this tomfoolery. Let's bring up our first guest. We've so far we've got 3 musicians in the queue. And I want to talk to each one of them because I know pretty much what instruments they play, but I'll be interested to find out what instruments they wish they had of played as they were coming along. Hello?
Sorry, I had your video playing. That was a little scary.
Oh, yeah. Try not to do that. Oh, thank you, Adam. I appreciate that. Adam's saying watch the ads in full. I appreciate that, guys. It's you know why I did that. Let me interject here, Easton, before we get to talking, because I don't know that everyone. Toby the Demon's here. How you doing? The reason I went ahead and monetized is because I didn't think if YouTube's going to run ads on my channel, whether I like it or not, then I almost have to. Hello, Chris Hope, and so that they're not raking in all the money. But in addition to that, if I decided not to monetize, then I lose the help. And we all know what happens to live streams after a while. Sometimes they get shut down. And the only way to get them back up is if you've got direct help. So it was kind of a rock and a hard place, and I had to make that decision. You guys all supported me, so I appreciate that. But I had to get that off my chest. Okay. Easton, no camera tonight, bud?
No, I'm on my computer again. I don't have a webcam yet. I need to get one back.
Oh, you need to get a webcam. Look at the high-end Logitechs for a quick solution, man. They work out real well. They work out real well.
I'm thinking about getting that, or trying to really confuse myself and get a DSLR.
Oh, yeah, be careful DSLRs. If you're going to go live with a DSLR, know that they've got a limit of about 25 to 30 minutes of power on time. They will literally shut off on you when you're live.
Oh, never mind, not gonna do that.
Yeah,
That's like my GoPro. It's got 1:30 of on time.
yeah. You know why they do that, don't you?
No.
Well, because I think I think it costs them more to import camcorders than it does SLRs. And if they have the cutoff, then they can still classify themselves as photography equipment rather than video equipment. So know that, guys, if you're thinking about that. Thank you, Lloyd. I appreciate that, my friend. All right.
No, my dream setup is to get one of those like $5,000 TV like news cameras and set that up behind the monitor. That's my dream.
Yeah, but you so don't need those anymore. I got my teleprompter for $100 on eBay, and it was brand new. I lucked out. It said it was used, but when I got it, it was still in the nice case and just impeccable. I mean, it was flawless, and it was normally about $300. The cameras that I have, actually, if you want a really good camera, look at the Sony. What is it? The AX53 and the 33. They're both capable of 4K. And they are just sharp as all get out. Use a converter. What's the capture card, an HDMI capture card, and you can bring it in like any other camera. So you could probably, instead of the $50,000 broadcast, you could have 4K for about $600-700 if you play your cards right. Right. You know what I mean? I mean, it's $600-700 is a lot of money to a lot of people. But it's a lot better than $50,000 for a broadcast camera.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we know what you play, but perhaps the audience doesn't. Easton, tell us what musical instruments you play.
I play guitar and ukulele. I'm learning piano, and thanks to me learning piano, because of plugins and MIDI instruments, I can basically play whatever I want.
Ah, very good. Very good.
Because of the wonderful world of technology where you can just play fake instruments.
Well, that is the truth, man, because those keyboards can be just about anything nowadays.
Yeah.
Have you seen the guitar that can do the same thing?
No.
It's a total fold-up guitar, and I didn't mean to get off the subject here, but it's just remarkable. I mean, literally, you leave the strings on it, and it folds up, but it also it has a processor on it that you can, and an app that comes with it, that you can make it play any type of instrument you want, and even sample sounds, and bring it into it. It's really, really sharp. It's all composite, and it fits in a space about the size of I don't know, a briefcase. And it's just really, really sharp. Who was it that I saw had that on there? But just look up folding guitar, and you should come up with it. There are a lot of people who've been doing reviews on it.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that.
So what instruments are, okay, let me ask you this. Why did you choose those instruments, Easton?
Okay, so guitar and piano are, like, in my opinion, like the two best instruments to play.
Hey, watch it. You're talking to a percussionist.
Hey, I like the drums. I'm actually wanting to get. I'm wanting to get an electric drum kit. That's what I want to get next. If I don't get a bass or a electric guitar, which I have played those two before too. I suck at bass, but anyway. So I like acoustic guitar the most, because you can take an acoustic guitar anywhere.
Yeah.
It's basically the tank of instruments, unless you're like me and like what I did a couple weeks ago. I went to deer camp and brought my guitar, and I temperature controlled my camper for the entire weekend. So my grandparents had to pay through the roof for the electric bill.
Oh man!
Because I just had a little space heater on, and I had about a 10-foot space camper, and I temperature controlled it the entire weekend to keep my guitar from getting warped, which is probably not the smartest idea to do that all weekend, but
well, priorities, right?
Yeah. Who cares about my grandparents? They love me.
Oh, they can wear blankets your guitars can't. So
yeah. Yeah.
So suck it, Grandma, Grandpa. Oh, speaking of electric kits, I forgot to show you mine. Do you want to see it?
I think you showed it to me before.
Have I?
The one, yeah,
Well,
the one there to your right.
No. Oh, yes, the electric one. Am I right?
Yeah.
I did. Well, here is
Yeah.
actually a wide shot of it.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's
See,
in the same room that I'm in right now.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's an older one though. The problem with that one is it's got some age on it. It was wonderful when it first came out, but it's got some age on it now.
Yeah. So I've heard of this. I don't know if it's a true thing or not, but before I actually spend like $5,000 on an electric drum kit, I've heard of such thing as practice pads that are not like actual drums; they're just pads. Is that an actual thing?
Oh, it sure is. In fact, I think Roland's got a whole set that sits up on a rack, kind of like that, but not near as elaborate, right?
Yeah.
And it'll come like a 5-piece. So you'll have a snare and maybe 2 toms and a floor tom, but they'll all be hanging on the rack, and then a couple plastic cymbals and a hi-hat. And they're just like the standard practice pads that you would use, like just to build your chops when you're doing like rudiments and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that it's and it works just like. In fact, I'd probably find one for you.
I'll have to get on Amazon, or you can send one to me or anything. Yeah, I'll have to get into that. So is it just use like the regular drumsticks or?
Oh yeah. In fact,
Nice.
most all electrics use standard drumsticks. Oh yeah, here's a good example, right here. We will just.
Yeah, my friend has one, and he I guess it's some kind of, I guess it's made out of cloth or something, just to have to where it's supposed to have the feel.
Yeah.
Of the kit, because he said that he had something that he filled up with freaking popcorn kernels.
Oh no! He's thinking of the. It's more like a screen, not a fabric. It's a tight screen, and that's what Roland's known for. This is probably the most inexpensive one. This is Gibraltar, and it's a really good one. You know,
Nice.
if that's all you're looking for, you would have to add a kick to it, but that's a nice one. But yeah, they make all sorts of them out there. In fact, you can even go one that looks more like a drum kit. This is a horrible one, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'll get that before I get the $5,000 electric drum kit.
There you go.
That sounds like a better idea.
I got to tell you though, if it were me, the first thing that I would do is I would get a practice pad, and work on your chops. In other words, watch YouTube videos on rudiments and start working on those first. Then you can get you a practice kit, and these were the mesh heads I was talking about earlier. You see them? Yeah, that's a low end Roland kit, which is really nice kit. Probably $500 to $700, I want to say. It's been a while since I priced these things. But that comes with a brain, and you'd be able to hear with your headphones, or if you hooked it up to an amp, you'd be able to hear all the drum sounds on the kits that you have available.
So I'm guessing it's just like a normal 1/8 inch adapter for the headphones.
Well, it's probably going to be a 1/4 inch, but you can get adapters for those. Most headphones come with a 1/4 inch adapter anyway.
Oh yeah, because Sammy sent me the studio headphones. Yeah, it has the 1/4 inch adapter. I don't know where the heck it's at, but it's somewhere.
Exactly.
I've got so much crap in here.
Tell me about it.
Because I just got my new iPhone, so I've got more technology than I can shake a stick at. So I've got guitar pick holders and wireless chargers, LED lights that I used to use as lighting, and computer crap component stuff, and pocket knives from unboxings and everything everywhere.
Oh yeah.
I need to clean up my desk very badly.
Yeah, well, good luck with that, because once you start collecting, and forget my language, but once you become a gear slut, and that is what I refer to us, it is so hard to stop yourself. Not only that, but it's hard to part with it as well once you're in that deep. So
by that I'm guessing you're meaning like basically equipment nerd, where they're just working on everything, or taking it apart, or just consuming lots of crap.
All of the above.
Then that totally totally describes me because, like I have like 4 bikes that I have taken apart, probably never going to go back together.
Yep.
I have equipment all around me for my computer.
Yep.
That totally describes me.
Yep. All right. Well, welcome to the club, man. Well, listen, Eastman, I appreciate you sharing, man. And if you really want to get into that more, take the advice that I gave you, because you'll really come out ahead if you concentrate on, and even just the basic first 4 rudiments. If you can get those down smoothly and make sure that each stroke sounds the same as on each hand, you will be miles ahead of most people that try. Then move into an actual kit or the full practice pad thing, right?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, dude. Well,
Thanks, man.
Hey, you bet. I'm going to move on to my next guest, but thanks so much, man.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
Oh, you bet. We'll see you.
See ya.
And that goes for the rest of you too. If anyone is thinking of becoming a percussionist, that is arguably the best advice I could get. There is a book by somebody Stone. I can't remember the guy's first name, but it was written 100 years ago, and it's called Stick Control, and that is one of the best books ever. I must admit that I have not mastered it like I want to master it. But if you really want, if you're his age, that's what I said when I opened up the show. I really wish that I'd begun this so much earlier. Yes, I had a drum kit when I was about 17 years old. Very short time, learned a few songs, and then life got in the way. I wish I had started even earlier than that. I would love to know, what I can about music theory, and be able to apply that. I think I would have fallen in with piano, maybe not guitar so much, but certainly percussion. Percussion's always been a big part of my life. I've said this before. Once I learned how to do Wipeout on, I don't know, it was on the table or something. I knew I was hooked with percussion, but I would have gone down the piano road definitely, because there's nothing harder than singing to drums and drums alone. And I love to sing. I really, really do love to sing. And I waited too long. I waited till I was in my mid-40s to get into a band, and your vocal cords are just not going to be what they were when they were younger. So there you have it. I'm going to call up my next guest now, and I'm going to wait. She's probably not ready for me, but she'll realize it here in a moment. Find her name real fast here. She's listening to me. She's going, "Oh my God, I'm up." That's awesome. That's okay. Take your time, Patty. Take your time.
Signal when we know that we're about to come on.
It wouldn't be near as much. It wouldn't be near as much fun for me, would it?
Sitting here listening to you on my phone, so I didn't have that on. Oh, and I'm talking down there, but I'm way up here.
You are. I'm going to bring you live now.
Okay.
Patty, how the heck are you?
Hello, people. I'm way down here.
That was a hoot. I'm so glad you came on. I saw you. I saw you talking about it in the chat earlier, and I thought, okay, there's at least 3 or 4 people I knew were going to want to come up on this one, and I'm glad you did.
I saw your topic the other night, and I'm going, I am stopping everything, and I'm going to be here tonight.
That's awesome. Well, we know what you play, Patty. Several varieties of the Mbira array. And do you want to talk about that a little bit? Because I know you've talked about how you got into it, but please, if you feel the need, reiterate that, will you?
Well, I thought it would be fun to show you what I started on.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Yes. So, every Christmas, back when my adult kids were really little, I would search, were we online back then? I think it was like
what year?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, what year?
Okay. Oh, wow. From the time they were like 1980s, they were little. But every Christmas, I wanted to find them something unusual. And it always ended up being some kind of unusual instrument. So This is one of the first things I found them. Let's see if I can do this.
Right there, right there. That's perfect.
The Smith, see if I can say it, the Smithsonian Museum had these for sale. So I bought 2 of them for my children, thinking, oh, they will have a blast, you know, kind of tinkering on this.
From the Smithsonian Museum?
Yes, they have a catalog where you can buy really unusual gifts and unusual pieces of stuff.
Oh, that is so cool.
I saw this, and I had heard about like a thumb piano and kalimbas and stuff, but when I saw this, I went, oh man, I'm going to order one for each of my kids. And on Christmas Eve, I have this really bad habit of getting my kids a present, but then I play with it way before I wrap it up.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that, right? You've got so much invested in it. Why not enjoy it a little bit?
But I started tinkering on this after I bought it for them. And what it is, I don't want it to make weird noise.
I want to hear some weird noises.
You hear weird noises?
No, I want to.
Oh, I don't know how this is going to sound through my laptop. It might not sound really good.
The second one was a little dead, but the first one was good.
Yeah, but this is a gourd. Yeah, there we go.
Yes, this is a family program, folks. That is a gourd.
Okay.
I just wanted to be clear. If I have to put up a lower third, I will. But that is a gourd, folks.
Wait, oh my gosh! I'm lucky you don't see my face.
Oh, they're looking at mine. It's all red and puffy now, so it's all good.
And Bobo's gonna cough.
Oh.
Excuse Bobo if you hear him coughing.
Okay.
They inlaid this top. Yeah, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
Layer of wood, and then built the tines on top of it.
Nice.
And it has a really beautiful sound. But this is what I started on.
Unbelievable.
And after tinkering with this for a couple years, I'm like, I love playing this metal stuff. And I need to find something more. So I came along Hugh Tracy. Hugh Tracy is a gentleman that went to Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first time he ever had seen the authentic umbera.
Mm-hmm.
And he came back to the States and he wanted to create, it's a more westernized version, of course, but he created a company where he built these kalimbas.
Say that again. What is that called?
A kalimba.
A kalimba.
Yes.
I have some questions about that when you get done telling us about it.
Yeah, you have a kalimba and you have an umbera.
Mm-hmm.
They're all in the same music family. But so then I ended up with this. This is a 17 key. There's so many different versions of kalimbas.
Mm-hmm. Now, like I said, I have some questions about that. One, the painted tines. Is that different key separators?
Yeah, it goes like. Let's see if I can do this. Oh my gosh, it's like looking in a mirror.
It is.
On your head.
Here, I'll just pull you full screen.
Yeah. Okay. So here is your first time, and on this one you alternate back and forth. Oh, and it's out of tune. It's been sitting on my piano.
Oh.
So it's back and forth with the keys to play the chromatic scale.
Okay. Well, my other question is, I noticed that they look like they're pairs in identical lengths, and
yes.
So how do they differentiate per side? Is it thickness of tine, perhaps?
No. The thickness is the same. It's the length.
Mm-hmm.
Each one is going up a half a step.
Well,
so they're not exactly the same size.
Oh, okay. So it's an optical illusion.
It could be.
Yeah, because what I would think would change that would be the bridge would be canted. You know what I mean? And I use it as fulcrum, but I'm using it as I'm using the term bridge. Um, yeah, yeah, it is kind of an optical illusion. Yeah,
Okay.
that's cool.
Anyway, this is what I started on, and after playing this for years, one night I went online and I'm going, I want to find something with more. I wanted more to pluck on.
Yeah.
And I came across different kalimbas like this that were built out of gourds, and they were bigger. They had like two, like an upper row and a bottom row of time.
Sure.
Those are so cool. And I was just about to purchase one of those. It was like this big, and it had 40, maybe 40 times. And then that thing showed up. And they had a sound bite of what it sounded like. And I listened to that. And this is like listening on an old computer. I don't think I may have had like one of the very first MacBooks, or anyway, my very first MacBook. And when I heard that, I'm like, it's just like, oh, I'm like, that's it. But of course, they're kind of pricey. I don't know if you've ever gone to the website.
No, not to look at prices. No.
Yeah, well, they're handmade, and they're not factory made.
All Umbiras?
Just this brand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Array Umbira is made by two guys in California, and it's just them. And the amount of time it takes for the woodwork and for cutting the spring, what's it called?
Spring steel?
Spring steel, I guess.
Yeah.
And the tuning takes months, because you can imagine trying to bolt down all of this part. Anyway.
Well, I can actually see them doing it. What they would do is they would take the spring steel, and of course put in that bend up for your playing surface. Then they would end up grinding that until they got the exact tone that that key was supposed to be. Yep.
Yes. Bill, the guy that is the mastermind behind this, he has sent me, the guy is a musical genius. And when he talks to me, or if he emails me something, he's also a physics person. So I don't get an email just about the layout or the times. It has everything to do with the vibration, and if this vibrates here, then it affects that one, and all this. It's crazy, the stuff that this guy does.
Sounds like somebody likes what they're doing.
Oh yeah, and you know what? He's been doing this. He's been trying to push this instrument since the 1960s.
Oh wow.
Yes, and because you can't just sit down and play it like on a piano. You know, you have your sheet music, and if you know how to play the piano, then you look at the music and your fingers just go. Because it's not laid out like that, he has a hard time convincing musicians to even try it.
Have you ever contacted them to become your spokesperson?
I am their spokesperson.
Are you? Fantastic.
What he does when he comes across someone and they're going, all you can do, because it's laid out in fifths. I don't know if you know that about it. It's
no, I didn't. Still there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was still listening.
Oh, okay. Because it's laid out the way it is, even someone that's like a non-musician can sit there and play chords, and as long as they stay within an area, back and forth, the music sounds good. But when you want to play something familiar, or pick out, a song that people recognize, then you're like all over the place trying to figure out where the notes are.
Find those particular notes, yeah.
Yeah. So he has people go, all I can do on that is play chords, and I want to be able to do more. But then he whips out his phone. He told me this a couple weeks ago. He said, when I hear someone say that you can't play familiar songs on it, I will whip out my phone and I pull up your channel and I put it in their face. Say, look, she does it.
Oh, that's awesome. Why
it just takes time to figure out. You got to do that.
Yeah, and I would argue that that's true with just about every instrument, but I can see how that one would be particularly difficult. Because would you classify it as like non-traditional? I mean,
very.
Yeah. And I hope when it takes off, he's going to start paying you handsomely for those endorsements.
You know what? Between you and me and everyone in the chat.
Yeah, keep it between us, guys.
This one, the one that I've been playing lately, the solid body one.
Mm-hmm.
You can see it. It's the one in all my videos. I don't do much on the acoustic anymore because I can't get a good recording.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
I'll go in my closet and try to muffle everything, but it's really hard to get a good recording without being in a sound booth. Yeah. So I'm doing a lot of my recordings on this one. They gave me this one.
Oh, nice.
Yes, and this is like a $4,000 instrument.
Wow, it's beautiful. It really is beautiful. As a woodworker, I really appreciate the time and effort that goes into instruments, particularly because the beauty is so much part of the sound. And by the way, we've got a question from none other than Magic Jones for you, Patty.
Magic, hey.
He's actually in the queue, and I'm happy to see that. Yes. The question is, do fingernails play a part in creating the sound, or is it just played with the skin part of the thumb/finger?
No skin.
No skin.
No skin. You got to have nails. And for years, I just had my regular nails, and the metal would wear them down, and I would have to like grow them out before I could really play a lot. Mm-hmm. And I probably was doing a little bit of my fingertips, but then I got smart and I started putting gel polish. And if you're a girl, you know gel polish is like super hard. Then I got smarter and I went to the salon and I got acrylics.
There you go.
I've been wearing acrylics, and I can sit and play for hours and it doesn't do anything. So.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, without any kind of strengthening on your nails, you're like toast when it comes to this.
That's awesome. That is so cool. And I'm so happy to know somebody who actually has a unique instrument like that they enjoy. Because like I said, the beauty of instruments to me is as important than the sound that they give off, because like I said, it depends so much on the sound, is how well they're made. And that is inherent beauty.
Yeah, the one thing about the array, this is a good comment for Jason.
Mm-hmm.
The difference between the acoustic and the solid body is I have to use more fingernail pressure on the acoustic than I do on this one. And maybe it has to do with an acoustic guitar and a electric guitar.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. But it's all about just how, and you got to be careful. If you have any kind of sleeves on, they get caught.
Oh,
I could be recording something and be almost through with it, and then boom, a sleeve hits one of these tines, and it like ruins the whole recording. And I'm like, no. But I wanted to show you guys. Oops.
Careful.
A couple of things.
Yes, please do.
I started out on the piano. My mother was a piano teacher and a music teacher for first grade through 12th grade.
Mm-hmm.
All my growing up years. I used to go to the school, and before I was in school, and I was quite the ham. I started playing the piano when I was 3.
Mm.
And so I would go to the school with her and sit and play for all her students. I loved it. But then when I went in 6th grade, I picked up the flute. I started on the baritone.
Nice.
And after bringing the baritone home, walking back and forth from school, trying to carry that thing, and I was probably 3 feet tall, I'm like, no, no more baritone. So I said, okay, let me try the flute. So I was a flautist from 6th grade till now. I don't do a lot of flute on my YouTube channel, but it's really ingrained in my bones. This is something, I have the array, and then this is probably my next pride and joy. This is a bass flute. And it's a very unique bass flute because it is not horizontal, it is vertical.
Yes.
So a bass flautist gets arm pain, shoulder pain from holding that thing up. So there was a company that invented a vertical bass flute, and they made the neck of the flute like this, so that your flute, it just goes on and on and on.
Good Lord, how long do your arms have to be?
It actually has, like a cello, has a...
a foot?
Yeah, a peg. I think it's called that I attach down here so that I can stand up and play the bass flute. But anyway.
That is really cool. That is really cool. See, you had the upbringing that I was looking for, Patty, when I was talking about that earlier. I so wish that music had been a part of my life so much earlier than it became, than it ended up being. And piano would have been certainly on that list. I don't think I've got the manual dexterity, and now I've got arthritis, so I can't do guitar, which really blows. I own 3 of them. I can't play them. But, Explosive Phoenix, welcome to the show, by the way, has a question. Go ahead and ask it, Explosive Phoenix. But I envy your upbringing, having started the piano so young and gone where you have.
Yes, I grew up in a musical family. My mother was a music major, and my father was a music minor. He actually played the trumpet in back then it was a well-known band, and so music was a big deal in my family.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is so awesome. You know what I got? You'll never make any money, Ringo.
Oh, let me show you this one more thing, because I know
Sure.
we have other people that want to jump on. And you said if there was one instrument that you hadn't conquered yet or accomplished yet, what would it be? I used to, every New Year, my resolution was to pick up something new. It could be the smallest thing or something like this, but I made it like every year, every 2 years, I'm like, teach myself something new. And I picked up the violin, and I tried, and I tried, and I tried, and I could not get comfortable with, I even took lessons. I could not get comfortable with the way my fingers had to sit on that violin, even though I was determined to play the Orange Blossom Special. But everything, that is the one thing that I did put down, and I do regret it because I really wanted to learn it.
Yeah.
But I think if I picked up a cello, I might be able to learn that.
There you go. There you go. What is that?
Yeah. One more thing, because it's just beautiful, and if my audio was good, I would play this. But this, let me go here, is oh my gosh, this is difficult. It is a ceramic flute.
Wow. Look at the fire on that. That's beautiful.
It's beautiful. And it has the most, I don't want to play it because I don't want it to come across really bad.
Sure.
It has the most ethereal sound to it. I've actually got 2 of them. And if I can ever figure out how to record it nicely, I want to put it with this.
Well, Patty, we've been emailing quite a bit, and I think you know that I'm somewhat of a an off the cuff sound engineer. If you ever want advice on equipment to record with, how to set up a small studio to do it in, because we're not talking about a full band here, we're talking about individual instruments, for a budget price, I can certainly help you out on that.
I'll do it.
Yeah, well, just hit me an email, and I think you'll be so much, you'll get so much more out of it, because then you'll have a place where you can call your recording studio, and it can even be mobile if you do it right.
Oh, it will have to be.
Well, that way, you can fold it up and put it away, that sort of thing, or put the pieces away and not have to worry about it. But I can certainly help you out in that arena, and I'd love to hear that flute, because I know I can almost hear it in my head. Some of the overtones that ceramic's going to introduce.
Ceramic?
Yeah, I can hear it in my head, and I've never heard one.
Oh, it just is like, yeah.
I heard you rustling it, and I could hear a few small noises come off of it, and I'm dying to hear it now. No, I'm not saying doing it now, but I'm dying to hear it when you're ready to record it.
Okay.
Well, Patty, right. I'm so glad you came up tonight. And shared all that with us. It's always a pleasure, and for me, it's a real treat.
Yay. Thank you for having me. Hello, bye, everyone.
Thanks, Patty. We'll see you.
Bye.
Like I said, if I only could have started out earlier on things like that, I so would have, absolutely would have, and we all kind of have regrets, and you just deal with it. But all right, I've got two more guests. I'm gonna try to get to you, Raven. Magic Jones was in first, so I'm gonna pop him in. Oh, we're at 10:50 too. I might have to get you next time, Raven. But hang out there. We'll see. Jason, give me just a moment here, my friend. Where is Jason? There he is. All right, cool. How are you, buddy?
Man, so happy to be here. I love this topic. First, huge thanks to Outdoorsy Girl O, I think is her name, for suggesting this topic, and
Yes.
That is awesome. And Jim, thank you so much for biting and doing it. How you doing, my friend?
Like that was a stretch for me to bite on this one, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You were probably, why hadn't I thought of that before?
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, no, I was going to cover this one. In fact, this won't be the last one, Jason. You know that.
Rock on, my friend. Rock on. So what's the question? I was actually, if I might diverge from the topic just a bit.
Certainly.
I've got a few children, and I've got 5 kids, and the 3 youngest are in Cub Scouts. That is ending with our religious organization here in 2020, and tonight was their last Cub meeting. And they had, I don't know if you have heard of the Candy Bomber of World War II.
The Candy Bomber of World War II. No, I have not.
No, he's a guy that rallied the troops. I mean, it would probably take me too long to explain it all, but at the end of the war, the Soviet rule in East Germany cut off transportation within the west part of Berlin, so they couldn't get any food, and so they flew in. I mean, this is all historically documented. They flew in they airlifted bags of flour and sugar and all sorts of necessities during the time, and I don't know how long that went on. But the Candy Bomber was a guy, just a pilot, and he was looking over at the fence that divided east from west, and there were kids there, and of course the whole place was war torn, and he gave them some gum, and they ripped it all up and spread it across all the kids so that all the kids could get just a tiny morsel. And he thought, you know what, I'm going to take my rations and fly them, and they put the rations and the chocolate and gum were in their
Sea rats.
food. Yeah, a cigarette.
No.
Right.
I'm sorry, sea rats. With the
Sea rats.
sea rations we called sea rats.
Okay,
And yes,
thank you. Yeah, I am not in the military, so please,
Sorry.
please forgive my inability and my lack of vernacular and all that other good stuff. But
no,
anyway,
I kind of threw that hard, but yeah, they did have cigarettes in them though.
okay,
Yeah.
all right. So anyway, they would tie some strings to a handkerchief and give them bundles of candy as they went flying,
Cool.
and it would turn into a huge phenomenon. It was worldwide in the news, and if you look up the Candy Bomber, you'll be able to read all about it. But he is related to one of my neighbors in my community, and he is 99 years old. And tonight
Wow.
we got to meet him. I gotta take a picture with this dude. It was amazing. He still is upright. He's walking around. It was just, it was like I was close to tears the whole time.
Yeah, that is so cool, dude. And now that you mention it, I have heard that story, but it's been years. That's so cool, dude. That is so cool.
Years and years and years. So anyway, we just got back from that. And 1 second.
Sure. While you're doing that, somebody asked, who was it that asked if a recorder, if I considered a recorder an instrument that was Explosive Phoenix? Yes, absolutely. Like someone else said in the chat, I think anything that you can play or manipulate that is musical could be considered an instrument. Am I wrong in that, Jason?
You are not wrong.
Cool.
You are not wrong. I mean, music, a musical instrument is basically anything that can create sound. Honestly, it's
Oh, and by the way, I kicked the recorder's ass with Mary Had a Little Lamb. I rock. Mary Had a Little
to
Lamb.
have a recorder to provide us some proof on that, would you?
I do not. It was an empty boast.
Yeah. So cool. As you probably know, I'm kind of a musician, and I couldn't help. I couldn't help but notice. I was actually in the meeting with the Candy Bomber, and I got the notification. I was like, no, I've got to leave this. I've got to make sure to be there. So my wife is actually still down there, and I was like, I've got to go home to be part of this because I don't know.
I'm honored, dude. I am so honored. That's cool because I thought for sure once you saw it, you would say, yeah, I'm gonna be on that show.
Yes, sir.
I had no idea it was gonna be pull you away from that sort of thing.
No. It was done.
Oh,
it was
okay,
done.
okay.
My wife just loves to linger. She'll be there for hours until nobody else is there, and then she'll come home.
Hey, so you're welcome. I was your out.
Yes. Yeah. You know what? There's more truth to that than I will let on.
Mrs. Magic, you didn't hear that.
Yes. Oh man. So I kind of came in at the tail end of your monologue, and you are a percussionist, right? Did you start with drums?
I did start with drums. And it was basically because I think you've heard the story about me playing Wipeout on like kitchen table or something. My brother and I were doing it. He couldn't do the 16ths, so he was like doing it in 8ths, and I was able to do the 16ths. Yeah, and it was from then on I knew that I had something, that I could turn into, that I could utilize behind the kit. But it wasn't until I want to say I was 16, 17 years old when I bought my first kit, and that was the first time I'd ever sat behind a drum kit. Mm-hmm. And it felt just natural. It just felt like I belonged there, right? And I played for maybe a year, almost got into a couple bands, actually with the same guys. I don't know if you saw some of the pictures earlier, but this picture here, the two guys on guitars, the bass players over to the left, those guys are brothers, and I grew up with those guys, and we played back then, just, knocking through some songs back in the day, never went and played live. And then life got in the way for me. They continued to play. In fact, I still play with them to this day. In fact, I was there last night. And Patty, to answer the question you probably have, sitting on a cajon and bending over that way to play a cajon hurts. But if I'm able to sit upright and play, the kit, I'm okay for maybe an hour at a time. Then I need some back support. So. But these guys have been playing with forever, and I forgot where I was going with that.
I just asked if you were starting with percussion.
Yeah, but I sold that kit probably when I was just getting ready to get out of high school. And because life got in the way, I didn't pick it back up until like 2008, like 10 years ago, 10 or 11 years ago. And that you saw was like 2010, and we're playing small clubs, you know, all cover stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm a hack of the highest order behind the kit, but I could keep time.
Dude, okay, so I've got a bone to pick with that statement.
Oh no.
I really do, my friend. And I know, actually, I was just talking to somebody like today, earlier, a producer here in Utah, and he talked about drummers that had all of the chops, had all of the technical abilities, that could not
keep time.
beat,
Yeah.
not keep time. So the comment of I'm a hack behind the kit. The only thing I can do is keep time, and keeping time is by far the most important thing a drummer can do. Even if it's just 4 on the floor, and that is it, you are already way more than half the way there.
I agree, and so I can't even take offense to that critique of that statement, because I totally agree, dude. When I say I'm a hack, I say I'm totally self-taught. I can't stick with rudiments. I mean, it bores the crap out of me.
Right.
And what I end up doing, even though I can keep time, I end up making sure that those people in front of me who can't keep time, I have to mold myself. So the pocket is always
look good.
Well, the pocket's always fluctuating with some musicians, as you know.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Because I could hold a pocket, and then we would lose each other. And when you're playing out live, you just can't do that. So, you know, as a drummer, you have to adjust. But where I say I'm a hack is that I don't know, man. Like I said, I don't know that I have too many tricks in my bag, if you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, but still, my brother, I've talked to top producers who say that they purposely get drummers who only can keep not only can keep time, but have proven that they can just keep time.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing that they're interested in. I mean, having a toolkit, you know, if you're playing with like Yes or Rush or bands that are known for their technical prowess, then for sure. But
yeah, that's like
all of the other, I mean, country, pop, rock, folk, all of it. The drums are simultaneously the backbone and the most boring. I mean, that is they're there to make the band the band. What you said about the pocket being fluid is absolutely right. And if the drummer cannot do his job, which is to keep time, the band is no longer a band. It's just a bunch of musicians on stage that can't communicate. That's
true. That's absolutely true. And not only do you have to go with the flow with some of those people who have a little bit of difficulty with time, but you also have to bring them back. You know, yeah,
absolutely.
There's our job. Our job is arguably the most difficult. One, we have to find them. One, we have to we have to like go out and get them, and then we've got to bring them. Yeah, then we've got to bring them back, right? And it really bugs me, Jason. I'm going to air some dirty laundry here. It bugs the shit out of me to have somebody in front of me start saying we need to go faster, you know, because they'll like tap their foot faster or something. And it's like,
right.
No, you don't get it. I am going the time in the song that I practiced 1,000 times.
Yep.
You may think that the energy of the crowd demands it, but that's not how it's done.
I hear you. So for me, and man, I can't agree with you more. If I'm with someone who I don't trust as far as time goes, because I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but almost all drummers, if they're making a mistake, they are going too fast. It just slowly gets faster and faster and faster. And
rarely do they fall off the other side.
Rarely. Yeah, I'm one of the oddballs. In fact, I'm in a band called The Crew, and he, after a particularly long time that we hadn't practiced or hadn't gigged, I think it was like 2 or 3 months, we went back to a gig without practicing. And I play with pro musicians. They are amazing. I feel so humbled and honored to play with the musicians that I play with. Our bassist is awesome. Our guitarist is awesome. Our lead vocal, male and female, are just amazing. I mean, I find myself wondering how in the heck I got
Oh,
be
please,
part
dude.
of this. I mean, honestly, I mean, I know that I'm okay, but man, when you're just surrounded with these guys that just, it's like it's like a dessert. It's like your favorite dessert, and you go to the place where they specialize in making this dessert, and you've got it in front of you, and you just know it's going to be delicious, and you take a bite, and it's even more delicious than you could possibly imagine. It's like you almost don't feel like you belong.
Yeah, like you don't deserve that.
I don't deserve that. That's what I feel like with these musicians, and they're amazing. So the reason I'm going down this road is the guy that is the lead singer, the guy who basically puts money in my pocket for playing drums, which is just insane in and of itself. I can't believe that somebody's willing to pay me to play the drums. But he'll do that. He'll turn back and he'll just give me a thumbs up. And I'll be like, okay, just a little bit faster. I'll speed up just a little bit. But I trust him intrinsically. It's like, dude, my job is to make you look as good as I possibly can.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna do that. But on the flip side, if it's the guys where we're already getting close to afterburner status, we were playing so fast and the guitar is like, dude, go faster. I'm like, screw you. Not gonna do it.
Yeah.
I'm playing this already burning fast, and there's no way we're going faster.
Yeah. And I've been in that. I've been in those shoes. Absolutely. But you got to agree with me that when you play with an extraordinary group of musicians, it brings your level up higher than what you think you're capable of.
Oh, the ability to perform.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. I could not agree with you more.
Yeah.
That's why I feel so thankful to be with this group of guys and girls. Yeah, it's like I've got to really up my game. I've got to give it everything I've got, and it of course makes me play to a little bit higher of a level that I normally do.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's more being just more aware of your surroundings, and I mean by the folks that surround you. Yeah. But also. I don't know. It's suddenly you become hyper aware, and
you do.
Yeah, and you think, well, and suddenly it becomes easier for me. It does, and I've played with several different musicians, and I love playing with a whole group, different groups, because of that particular aspect of it, where there's no preconceived notions, so you get to go in there and just be. Well, you'll end up being at the level they are, is what I've found. Not exactly, but you know what I mean. Yeah.
I do. Yeah, you've got to. You really got to. So I've got to tell you an experience.
Sure.
We we had the amazing opportunity. I didn't realize it was an amazing opportunity, but because me and sports are like oil and water, cats and dogs. I just don't care. I don't, whatever.
Yeah.
But we had the opportunity to play the pregame show for a BYU football game. And I didn't know that it was a big deal. And we got there, and they were building a stage just for us. I mean, this way bigger than we needed. And they had blocked off a street in the middle of downtown Provo, right outside the Lavelle Edwards Stadium. And when we were playing, there were just a few people, but after like the second and third song, there were probably close to 5,000 or 6,000 people just all over the place. And the reason I tell you this is we were playing, we do just 100% covers, or whatever the venue wants us to play, that's what we play. And so we were playing some covers, and one of my goals is to cause one of the musicians around me to let me know if you know this. So the guitarist is up there, he goes like this. I love that. And so we were playing X's and O's, a cover of X's and O's, and I was just like rocking that jungle beat, just rocking it out of the corner of my eye. I see Chris, the guitarist, just like, nice, dude. And I was like, yeah, buddy. It was so much fun. Oh my gosh, so much fun.
Those are the memories that you couldn't plan if you tried, man.
Amen.
God, and I've said it before, playing to a large crowd that loves what you're doing is one of the greatest feelings on the face of this planet, man.
It sure is, man. I wish I didn't like it as much as I did, but
why is that?
I'm in the zone. I don't know. I'm an introvert. I've told you before, I'm an
Yeah.
introvert, and I really don't need the stage. I could be just fine in the studio. But I think I said that before we had that BYU gig, and it was fun. It was way fun. I mean, we were about halfway through, and we were just jamming through a song. I don't even remember what song it was, and the cheerleading team comes down and they just start dancing to the beat that we were playing, and I was like, oh my gosh. It sounded like, holy crap, this is awesome. And so the lead singer, Johnny, like turned around and he was like immediately, he was like mouthing stuff to the guitar and bassist, and I'm like halfway worried because I'm not sure if he's gonna get it to me or if I'm just gonna have to like psychically know what the heck is going on. And we end that song and immediately it turns out and he's like, Uptown Funk. And I was like, yeah! So we started the bass just boom, 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 boom. I was just like, yeah! The cheerleaders started dancing to it, and the crowd was just going crazy. I was like, yeah!
That's
I'm
awesome.
sorry. I get a little bit animated, but man, that was awesome.
Well, which is why I think you're lying to me. I think you enjoyed a lot more than you get let on.
Yeah.
Because come on, man.
If I could do that, yeah, you know what? You're right.
If I could do that for a living, I would.
Yeah,
without question.
For a living, holy crap.
Yeah. Of course, kids get in the way. Family gets in the way.
Family, yeah, they get in the way, but in the best way.
Oh, well, what I mean by that is they keep you from actually doing that, because then you would neglect the family. We all know the musician stories, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I know it, and it is true.
Yes.
It is absolutely true, and I believe, honestly, that is why I believe the universe or God or whatever you believe in led me down the path of not doing. I had the opportunity to play with two bands who didn't go on like international fame, but definitely were making a living on the road. And I just felt in my heart that wasn't the right answer.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
What? No. And I have a habit of listening to my heart. I mean, for better or worse, I trust my gut. And then my fantastic family came along, and I thought, you know what? If I was on the road, I would not be thinking about family.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's no good for the kids, right? No good for the wife. And
amen.
Yeah.
Preach.
Yeah. It's one of those things where
it really is. And I wish it was different. I really wish that I could say, nah, there's I think you can make it work, and I think maybe you can, but that would just be ridiculously difficult.
Yes. And like I said, the road is littered with broken families. I mean, littered with broken families. And it's because of the time away. Yeah. Oh, that and astray. Yeah. Going astray.
All sorts of garbage along the way that just does not. It's just not, unfortunately.
Well, there's
life.
Yeah, there's something, and even worse is you pile on household name fame, right? Where you're known in every household.
Yeah. And
suddenly you're not a normal person anymore, and people are telling you that all the time, and that even drives a larger wedge in between that and the family.
I hear what you're saying. I believe it 100%, man.
Yeah, you would almost have to plan on doing that. But take the guys from Rush. Rush is a great example because they were able to all keep families. They toured in such a way that was family friendly, and most of them are still married to the same people today. Save for Neil and his losses, but you got to do it right, and so many don't do it right. But then again, when you think about it, like you said, you found your place. You found where you wanted to be, where you should.
I do, and I'm so grateful. I am so very grateful because with you now, I was listening to Patty, and I got to say, I mentioned in the chat, I am so jealous of her upbringing because I was not born into a musical family. I mean, they weren't anti, but I remember asking my mom as I was watching. I think I was watching. This probably wasn't the best thing, but I was watching a Boy George music video back way in the 80s.
Was it Karma Chameleon or what was it?
Something like
Do
that.
You Want to Love Me or something?
Probably Karma Chameleon. And I was like, Mom, can you do music like for a job like what Dad does? And she looked at me and she says, No.
Oh.
No. And I was so believing and naive, and I've got a very passive personality. I just believed her, and I ended up having a good programming career. But man, I wonder, those what ifs, and like what would have happened if she would have said, yeah, you know what, let's get you into some drum lessons.
Yeah.
Let's lean into this a little bit and see what you're made of, because I didn't get serious about it. Like, I did not get serious about it until my late 20s.
Yeah,
And,
which was
but
much earlier than
like
I
you,
did. But
the first time I got my drum kit was when I was 14. I took piano from age 8 to 13-ish. And then got my drum kit at 14, and then piano was like gone. I was just like you. I felt like I belonged there.
Yeah.
It felt so natural, and it came just like swimming to a fish.
Yeah.
And but I just kind of wish, I'm like, man alive, I'm grateful for the piano lessons. But,
sure. Yeah.
Oof, where would I be now if they'd put a guitar in my hands, or and man, I love my parents. Holy cow, I won the lottery with my parents. They are amazing people. I can't say anything bad about them. It's like, man, what if? But you'll never know, that's probably a pretty pessimistic way of thinking, but
well,
I'm super grateful.
There's always that what if, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I was doing earlier when I was talking about Me Too. I wish I had been brought up that way. And partially, actually, a lot of it was my fault. Sex, drugs, and listening to rock and roll was a big part of my life early on. So those were distractions that kept me from that sort of thing. Right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I take some of the blame myself. Because you can't blame your parents. I grew up, and you did probably to a certain extent. Well, your mom said no. My father always said no. I mean, there's just one of those things where starving musicians was a meme for them. Right. And
they don't want that as a parent. You don't want that for your kid.
No, you don't. Unless you were brought up in music, and
right, like Patty's.
Yes.
Like Patty's parents, they're like, yeah, dude, music's all around. Let's do this. Oh man, I can't even imagine.
Oh, I can so see myself playing instruments in a symphony or in theater, because I love going to the theater, and I love sitting right in front of the pit, man, because they've got all the pro musicians down in there, and they're playing all the instruments that I grew up with, in addition to a lot of woodwinds and strings and that sort of thing as well. And it's just I'm mesmerized by that more than I am the show on the stage.
Me too.
That's how sick I am.
Me too. No, the shows that I've gone to, the pit is really low, like, and you can't see any of the musicians, but I'm like, oh, I just wish I was a little closer. I could look down in there and see what's really going on.
Well, we've been very fortunate to have a lot of front row tickets. My wife's boss goes a lot, and she's got 4, so we end up getting those tickets a lot. And we're literally a curtain away from the musicians. And of course, they're at foot level.
Lucky.
But all I got to do is raise up a little bit, and I can see the entire drum kit behind the sound glass, and the bass player's right in front of the conductor. I could reach out and touch him if I had to. It's really awesome. If you guys ever get the chance, at least once, and I'm talking to everybody in the chat and all, and everybody watching this later, go see a theater. If you like musicians at all, go to a theater production that has a pit, and splurge at least once for front row tickets sometime. Just do it. Yeah. You'll never regret it, because it's so awesome to watch those guys in action. They're all playing silent, right? So they've got their headphones in, and it's all over the amps. They've got no stage, no back, nothing. And it's just awesome to watch, dude. But I can see myself doing that if I'd taken that path.
Yeah. Ultimately, we've got to really just embrace where we are in life and where we're headed, and just move forward.
Yep.
But I'm with you. I'm with you there. I feel like you're kind of a kindred spirit, Jim.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You had mentioned an instrument that had not mastered yet.
Yes, or just aspire to play. You've never even touched.
Might I introduce to you the Zambonia?
Oh man, where is Zamfir when you need him?
Look at that, man. Yeah, exactly.
Hold that up, Jason.
Yeah.
Oh man, look at that. It's two-tier.
It is authentic. Yeah, actually, they're supposed to be together, but they're
convertible as well.
Yeah. You're supposed to not wire. I mean, this is what I bought in Colombia. I spent a couple of years down there, and I was in musical heaven with all of the authentic stuff down there. And while Patty was talking about, she was the one that had mentioned the instruments that you aspire to play or whatever. I was like, oh my gosh, where's my Samponia? And I ran away, and luckily I found it. But yeah, I don't know that I could play it, but
that's gotta be
That's
gotta be a tough one. There we go.
And then I don't know how you get to the second level, but so yeah, and they're all tuned individually, so there's no they're not. Yeah. Anyway, this is. Oh, there we go. Thank you.
Now you played for a crowd, Jason. You're
awesome, Jim. Hey,
no
do
longer.
You have somebody waiting? It's 9:20.
Oh yeah, no, I do, but I think Raven will understand. I am going to have to shut her down,
Okay.
Raven. I'm so sorry, honey. We'll get you up next time, and even if you want to talk about instruments, you can. But no, that's going to do it for tonight, bud.
Gotcha. All right, I was hog. I felt like a little selfish, but.
Oh no, and like I said, my apologies to Raven, but these sort of subjects do tend to go on because I could talk about this forever, dude.
You know
that.
We could probably we could go on for at least 2 or 3 hours.
Oh yeah. Oh, without question.
Yeah. I'm still waiting. I would love to have you behind a drum kit for one of my songs or something. I don't know if you have the capability of recording a drum kit or whatnot, but a collaboration between Video Call-In Show and Magic Jones would not be outside the realm of possibility here.
I think that would be a lot of fun, Jason, and I'm willing to try. Hell, I could hook the electronics straight up to this mixer right here and get those sounds.
You could. What is it? A Roland?
No, it's a Yamaha. Did you not see the picture of it earlier?
I wasn't here for the whole. I'm like literally. I got on for the last 3 minutes of your monologue before Patty. There we go.
Yeah,
those sound good from the get-go.
Yeah, I mean it's the higher end Yamaha. It's before they went to the soft pads, the white ones. But you can tune those individually within the drum kit. So they've got a little red knob on them, and it literally changes the pitch.
Really?
Yes, and of course there's just hundreds of kits, hundreds of sound effects. It is electronic, so some of the and I've sampled sounds. In fact, my cymbals are my A customs.
Right on. That's the right way to do it.
Oh,
yeah,
definitely
the right way to do it.
But I didn't take any of my snares, and I'm still looking for a Blackie light for you. They're getting more expensive. People are really starting to grab those up. The 80s Acrolite, Ludwig Acrolites, yeah. Because now they've all of a sudden discovered, it's not just a student snare. That thing sounds great.
Sounds great. Exactly.
Well, you take and do what I do to it, and it sounds even better because I replace them with all tube lugs. And of course I go with the heavier rings, not the S rings, not the stick breakers, the S ones. Remember those?
Right.
But also a better throw off. Was it Dunham? I think is the name. It's been a while since I've jacked with this. And then they just sound phenomenal in the right heads. I can't remember. The Hazy 300 is going to be the snare side. The Pro, and of course the brass, the Pro Sound snares.
Pro Sound,
yeah. With the nylon straps. I prefer the nylon straps as opposed to the strings, or
right.
Yes. Not the cheap flimsy plastic ones. I'm talking about the nice nylon ones. Yep. And I think, oh man, I can't remember the batter head. But anyway, I'm still looking for one of those.
Ambassador, perhaps.
What's that? It might be a Remo Ambassador. There's two of them I like. I like the Remo Ambassador, and I think the Evans. What is it? The EC2. Because it's not.
I'm not familiar with Evans. I need to be though.
Oh, you're more of a Remo guy.
I just what I've always used.
Oh.
I've put on a couple of actually I've had every time I've used an Evans head, it's been a bad experience, and I'm pretty sure that it wasn't Evans. I mean, one of them, I was a brand new head, and I played Metallica's Enter Sandman. Actually, it was a cover, and the third to the last hit, it literally just tore. Like the whole head just tore. I was like, oh my gosh. And it was like the second or third song that I had played on the head. And
it had to be a bad hit.
Of course, I just got a lemon. Of course, it's not that's not Evan's fault at all.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, they're far too big for that to happen on a regular basis.
Agreed. Yeah, that is not status quo for their heads.
No. But I'll look that up because I've got my Blackula right in there that I should actually pull out and show you. One of these days I will. We're running out of time. But
yes.
Where was I going with that? Shit, I forgot.
It's that time of night.
It is.
I've still got a stream tonight, so after we turn this off, I'm gonna. I'm starting a new song. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. So.
Cool.
We'll see.
Well, guys, we're just gonna call a raid now. As soon as this show's over, we're gonna head over to Magic Jones. If you guys want to join us, feel free to. But Jason, as always, man, it's such a pleasure to talk to you, especially about music, and I can't thank you enough,
Amen,
man.
Brother. Right back at you. Right back at you. That's why I came here just ready for a good time, and you did deliver.
Awesome. All right, buddy. Thanks again for being on. We will catch you on your stream here shortly. We'll just kind of hang out, and then when you start up, do you know when you're starting up? Just right away?
It'll be right away.
Oh, okay.
It'll be right away. So I'm going to, it'll take me probably 10 or 15 minutes to get everything set up, and then we'll be on.
Okay, awesome, dude. We will see you over there, bud.
All right, you take care.
Thanks again.
Awesome.
Oh God, he's right. We could talk for hours about this subject. Of course, I mean there's no shortage of of subject matter. There's a whole lot of people that came in, and I wasn't able to say hello. I hope you guys don't mind. Just Edie, good to see you. Thanks for being here. American Gold Prospectors, Jimmy C and friends, good to see you. Who else did I see in? It was quite a while. Oh, Paul Michael DB, thanks for the compliment on the shirt. If I missed you, I apologize. Oh, David, the producer, I think I saw come in. How you doing, David? Good to see you. Hope you guys are still with us. Sean McKenna, I know I said hello to you. Good to see you as well. Sounds like me playing the didgeridoo. Brad from Drone Kings in Darwin. How you doing, Brad? Where is Danny Black? There he is. How you doing, Danny? Found you. If I miss you, I certainly apologize. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's show. It's shows like this that just make this so worthwhile because they are so fun. I hope you get as much out of it as I do because it is just unbelievable. Just unbelievable. So, by the way, tomorrow night, speaking of shows, Crap My Dad Makes Me Watch has suggested, Were You Clever as a Child? We're going to talk about just how clever you may have been when you were a youngster. And that is tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern. I hope you guys can join me for that. Really want to thank all my guests. Raven, I apologize, and we'll get you on again, of course. Nuggetberry Peterson, how you doing? Good to see you. Magic Jones songwriting streams. Oh, that might be a new one. Somebody post a link of Jason's live stream, or at least his channel, so we can go there after this. And again, thanks to all you guys in the chat. You guys are fantastic. I so appreciate you being here. I so appreciate the chat. I apologize for not getting to all your questions or comments, but that is kind of part and parcel since I got to pay attention to my guest as well, and don't feel bad about it. But thank you, Grumpy. Appreciate it. Thank you, Luke. All you guys. Mr. Lodak, how you doing? But of course, that's going to do it for me tonight, folks. I hope you had as good a time as I did. If this is the kind of content that you don't forget to leave a like if you liked tonight's show. And if you're new here, if you're watching it new live or after it's processed, make sure you follow. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you'd like to come back and be a part of, or just watch, be a part of the chat, come on the show. Love to have you. But for now, I got to leave you with this. Make sure that you treat others the way you would want to be treated. If we all did that, this world would be a fantastic place. Have a good day, folks. We'll see you live.